Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our spoiler-free review for Zootopia 2. We took an oath to make the world a better place, and an innocent snake needs our help. Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. My name is Nate, and this is our spoiler-free review for Zootopia 2. A huge thanks to our friends at Disney Studios Canada for inviting us to watch this movie early for review. If you're joining us for the first time, we are Geekcentric, a podcast celebrating the world of movies, TV shows, games, and all things geek-centric and all things Disney animation. Today, I am joined by my partner on the force. He's my furry friend, co-host, my Z-bro, Darcy, the double-striped, don't call him a horse, Hudson. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Excited to be talking about Zootopia again. It's always a fun and lively place to return to.
Oh man, it's crazy. We're back in Zootopia. We were introduced to Zootopia back in 2016, almost a decade ago, and then in 2022, Zootopia Plus came into our lives. We got to enjoy sort of seeing a broad range of characters and different parts of Zootopia through that series, which if you haven't seen that series, definitely check it out. And then Shanghai, Disney got a Zootopia-themed land since Zootopia 1 came out. Darcy, it's so nice that we've got this movie that stuck with people so much that we've sort of gotten more of it. I think to the obviously we're a little bit older, so when we think of Disney animation, we think of the golden era of Disney and the things that have had rides and have had so much sort of following and love for them. So to see something in the modern Disney animation age get so much love is really lovely.
Well, something that isn't Frozen or Moana. Yeah, it's totally nice to see something that it feels like a classic Disney movie. And I don't know if it's the fact that it's anthropomorphic animals or just the fact that it's very quick and witty humor. I think that really resonates so well. It's the fact that this world is so rich and well developed that there are small little jokes and puns based on these animals hidden throughout all the movies, series, and I'm sure even the ride and show. They understand what they're doing, creating this world so well that it's always so much fun to return to.
And you mentioned it, the show Better Zootopia at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Watching this movie made me really, really want to check it out, and I'm hoping we get to do so soon. But I think that's just it. Like you mentioned, the world building is so well done that there's so much that you can pull from this, and it did remind me. It's funny that Zootogether, you're Zootethered together. Zoogether, better to man. It's tough to say. Better Together. It makes sense that it kind of is in the same spot that we last saw, a feature from A Bug's Life, right? And I remember how fun it was to see all the different sort of insect puns they were able to come up with, and now opening up to the entire Animal Kingdom, and for it to be in Disney's Animal Kingdom just makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, definitely being underneath that tree of life and with all the animals carved into it. It was always meant to be.
I'm very much looking forward to it. Let's talk about this movie. Before I do, let's get into the synopsis. In Walt Disney Animation Studios' Zootopia 2, detectives Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde find themselves on the twisting trail of a mysterious reptile who arrives in Zootopia and turns the animal metropolis upside down. To crack the case, Judy and Nick must go undercover to unexpected new parts of town where their growing partnership is tested like never before. The film stars a fantastic ensemble voice cast that includes Jennifer Goodwin, Jason Bateman, Ke Huy Quan, Fortune Feimster, Andy Samberg, Idris Elba, and Quinta Brunson, amongst many, many other wonderful voice actors and voices that came back from Zootopia 1, but also new voices that we weren't expecting that we won't spoil necessarily here. The movie is directed by Jared Bush and Byron Howard, and it will be roaring its way into theaters tomorrow, November 26th, 2025. I think with this movie, it's funny. We couldn't not talk about the world building before we got to talking about this movie, just because
Yeah.
it is so well done in that first film. But Darcy, we're here with Zootopia 2. Let's dive into the look and feel of this sequel. What did you think of the look and feel of Zootopia 2?
Well, again, hitting it out of the ballpark with the world building again, and what's so cool about this movie is that it really feels like it's a journey across the different biomes of Zootopia, whereas the first one felt very much oriented in the one city-like area that feels just like a regular human city that is full of animals. This time we're going to the extremes and going through a desert and the tundra, and we're getting to see more biomes, which just seems really cool. And again, cramming all this world building and detail into the background where characters will be doing things specific to their animal and the way they get around the city and how the city is built around them. It's so cool how this animal kingdom feels so believable because it's so well designed and thought out, how every animal has a way to live in the city essentially, which is so neat.
Yeah, there's this focus in the story behind the weather walls, which is something I think we sort of knew about and saw in previous Zootopia, the movie or the series. But here it is a bigger focus, and yeah, dude, like we're getting the desert area, we're getting the tundra, the mountains, the swamp zone. We're kind of getting so much variation, and I love how the movie spends a good amount of time in each, right? It feels like it is a very fluid, very rapid pace movie. And we aren't necessarily staying in one place for too long, which at some points can be a bit of detriment, which, from the story standpoint, but just from like a constant smile standpoint. Darcy, you and I were talking on the way back, and one thing that you had mentioned and we talked about is that, yeah, you can freeze frame so many parts of this movie and spend a significant amount of time just sort of dissecting all the in-world, really smart animal jokes. Some of my faves, there's a mouse whose sole job it might be a mole, but I can't, a mouse or mole, whose sole job it is to dislodge soda cans that are stuck in a vending machine, and that's his job. That's what he does. Or
Genius.
it's so good. Or the elephant gym that is adjacent to Nick's apartment being called Gym Trunks, and it's just a gym for elephants. And obviously, that would be horrible to have next to your apartment, or
It's above his apartment.
above his apartment is even worse.
Yeah.
Websites like Zoogle or YouTube being spelled EWE it's so smart, and you can't help but just have those constant smiles on your face at all these details.
Yeah, for sure. Again, there's thought going into everything that makes this world feel just like one great pun on, animal meets human world type thing. I don't know. It's a great concept, and I don't know if I'll ever get tired of it.
No, exactly. And I think I feel the same way, to the point where I was like, I want an open world video game in Zootopia so bad. Like
Oh yeah, let me be like Judy or Nick and solve crimes in Zootopia, like
just
a
doing
GTA style open
different
world.
tasks for different animals. It would be so good. I could spend so many hours in this world, and the fact that the movie is 107 minutes. I want to spend more time there. I'm hoping, obviously, that we do get more from this world, whether it is Zootopia Plus Season 2 or Zootopia 3. I really do think we are going to get that with just how much love, as we said, Disney is giving this franchise. But I also love that we've got so many more shapes and sizes and variety this time around. It feels like there's more animals from the animal kingdom. Obviously, Gary the snake is coming in, and there's an element of reptiles that is being brought into the movie. But even just beyond that, I mean, we were seeing dolphins, we were seeing don't call them seals, sea lions.
Yeah.
A lot of the animals get very upset if you misspecies them, which is fair. I get that. But I also love the way that the characters move, Darcy. There's so
Mhm.
much emotion in their motion, and so seeing Nick, he's a sly fox. He's moving so smoothly. You see him like, he doesn't just put the TV remote down on the couch. He like triple flips it in his fingers, and then like it lands perfectly where it needs to be. And he's rarely thrown off his feet. So when he is, that expression on his face is so much grander. Or I think about Judy Hopps. The first thing I noticed in this movie, she's so fast, she's so bouncy, she's very sort of antsy all the time, like a bunny. But at the same time, the way her ears move in this. It's almost like it's like an extension. It is an extension of her character, and it is so heartbreaking when you see her ears fall behind her head when she's sad or when she's realizing she's about to be disappointed. It's just the way that they were able to animate these characters so wildly differently is just huge. It's so cool. And for every animal.
Yeah, again, it goes down to the back to what Meg always talks about when we're talking about animation and the shape of characters and understanding how a character would move based on their personality and how they kind of feed into each other and reflect for a really good performance. And again, Zootopia 2 at least seems to be what you see in background characters in the first one, because we saw a lot of animals, but they were never part of the story. This one, I feel like almost every animal gets a joke or something about them in here, and they feel more. Again, it feels like a very lived-in world by this point, which is just so good. And it comes down to the fact that again, the characters, the animals, all move so uniquely based on the species. Like they've studied animals and figured out how they would move if they were walking on 2 feet, and how that would look, and how the city would have to adapt. Again, everything about it is so well thought out, and I love it.
And I think it's also one of those movies that I have to shout out for just the overall visuals. Like Darcy, you and I were talking about the fur leaving the theater
Oh,
and the textures of like the different like sort of types of skin on the animals and just the way that they're able to put so much detail. It's insane. And it's like I think about the movies that like you guys always make fun of me for like talking about my OLED TV because that's because I love my OLED TV so much. But I think about Into the Spider-Verse as like a showcase for my OLED TV. Zootopia 2 is absolutely a modern day showpiece for a television.
yeah, just the depth they're managing to get into some of these coats, like the fact that Nick being one of the main characters, you're going to spend a lot of time looking at this fox up close in different conditions, and just being a dog owner, I understand how a coat can be two colors depending on how you look at it, and how the undercoat will sometimes be the more prominent color and stuff like that. In this movie, going through the different areas and like situations, you really see that texture brought to life, and it feels so real. It's incredible how much better this looks only 9 years later.
It's wild, and I mean it's wild. I'm gonna keep saying wild over and over again. But even just like there's a great joke about sheep and getting their wool, groomed, if you will, in different different ways.
The
And
hairstyles that they come up with are
it's
just
so
fantastic
good.
when it's all over the body.
It's so good. Lastly, I want to shout out the score from Michael Giacchino when we're talking about the feel of this movie. We call him the GOAT. He is the GOAT. Pun very much intended. I think this score, it's like it very similar to the story. It gives you cop Miami 80s cop vibes, spy thriller vibes. There's horror movie at certain points in this as well, and a lot of that comes from the visuals and some of the references, but also the score as well. I really enjoyed it. I think it definitely gives this movie its own flavor over even Zootopia 1 or Zootopia Plus, but it does obviously feel so perfectly, like so perfect within that world. And then I think it is one of those situations though where I can't necessarily think of an exact theme. Like I love different themes or character themes. I definitely felt different things with each of the different characters based off the score, but I didn't necessarily pick up something I could hum to you right now. But I think that allows the story and the visuals to take more of a center stage. And I do think it's incredibly impressive. And obviously, Michael Giacchino, the GOAT, he can do it all. But I think it's really impressive when we talk about how dynamic and varied the story is, at how well the score is able to keep pace with that. Because I think a lot of different composers out there might just sort of give you the same thing throughout. And there's a lot of different vibes that were coming from the music in this movie.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I do remember from the score, like you said, there isn't one standout theme or anything like that. It's the fact that even before, like just as you're getting into a new scene, the way that the score will shift and change and kind of set the tone for what's to come, it, like you said, is very dynamic, and it worked very well with the pacing of the story, and it swelled when it needed to, and fell when it had to, and had those beats and emotional pauses. It was, again, it fit the movie perfectly, and the way you said that 80s vibe of like a cop movie, it embodied that, which I feel like Zootopia was that movie to begin with. Like it is a buddy cop story, and this one was just the score and the feel and everything, the way they upped the scale of things, if you will, just felt like that rightful sequel to a buddy cop story.
And shout out to Shakira. She's back as Gazelle. She's
Yep.
featured a little more in this movie, and her song "Zoo." It's a bop, dude. I'm
Hmm.
so excited to hear it in the different parades or some of the maybe a fireworks show or wherever. I cannot wait.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that'll be one of Animal Kingdom's go-to show songs for years to come.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Now, obviously, that is a phenomenal performance from Shakira that she gave, but there were other wonderful performances in this movie, and I think we have to start off with our returning duo, our returning bunny cop duo of Judy Hopps, Jennifer Goodwin, and Nick Wilde, Jason Bateman. Darcy, what did you think of these two in Zootopia 2?
Again, they return to these characters as if they hadn't been away from them for so long. They understand where they are and where they would be at this point in their relationship, and just bringing the charm that we loved about the characters in the first place, and then putting them through this new, trying this relationship out and seeing how long it can last despite them being so different, is again a fitting buddy cops sequel storyline. And I think they just do so well bringing that heart and charm to it like they did in the first movie. So it was delightful to see them hear the banter with each other again, and even when they were interacting with other characters, they still they managed to bring these characters to life so well. They are the voices of Nick and Judy without a doubt. So it was so much fun to return to them.
Yeah, I mean Jennifer as Judy Hopps. Judy is she's proving in the first movie was proving herself that she could do this. She could be a cop, now instead of proving herself, it's her and Nick proving to the rest of Zootopia, to the world, that they can be great partners together. And their chemistry is just like the way that they like. Shout out to the folks who obviously wrote the dialogue, but the way they're performing this dialogue, they are bouncing off of each other so quick. The jokes are flying in and they are relentless. It reminded me a lot of listening to the way that Jason Bateman is on Smartless, where he doesn't
Yeah.
none of the none like at least Jason and Will Arnett. Sean maybe is a little bit, he's a little bit more naive, a little nicer when it comes to some of this stuff. But Jason and Will do not let anything fly by. And Jason was like that in this movie. And there's points where they're talking and there's a moment where he just says, nah, no. And I've literally heard Jason Bateman say that 100 times on Smart, like, nah, no. And it just, he's so him in this movie. And I love the way that all these characters sort of fit so well with these voice actors.
Yeah, again, the one thing that the people at Zootopia, when they're animating at the very least, they know how to play off of these emotions that these actors are bringing to the characters just through the voices. And again, you understand who Nick is within minutes of meeting him, and it's no different returning to the role in this movie. And the same with Judy, you understand how determined she is because Jennifer does such a good job of bringing that energy and excitement that we know from Judy just so well. And again, just seeing it in new situations is always so fun because they are just extensions of themselves, it feels like. So it's feels like it's a home almost, even though they're a bunch of animals running around a crazy city.
And and it's funny you mentioned the performances and the way the animators, obviously 100%. Sometimes we think, oh, were they watching the actors, were they not watching the actors? They had to have either been watching previous thing the actors have done or watching them in the voice booth, because they matched those faces of the animals so well that I'm literally seeing the actor's performance through the character. You can see, especially with characters and with folks like Ki Hui Kwan and Fortune Feimster, you really
Hmm.
do. They're them. Their smiles are their smiles. Darcy, what did you think of Ki Hui Kwan as Gary DeSnake?
It's Kihei Kwan. I think I've
Yeah.
yet to find a role he's in where I was disappointed by him being there. And this
Mhm.
is better than his appearance in Kung Fu Panda in
I was
that
going to say the same thing.
we
Yes.
actually get a meaningful story with his character. And again, he just brings that goofy lovable charm to this armless reptile in a world that still very much requires hands. So it leads to some great jokes, and just again the way they understand animals and the way that he brings such heart to such a new animal for this world is delightful. And then Fortune Feimster is just, she is always one of my favorite things whenever I see her, because she has such high energy and is just such a character actor. And her character of Nibbles Maples Bite, Maple Bite, whatever,
Maple stick.
Maple Stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is incredible and is just yeah, delightful every time she's on screen. And like you said, the performance and the loudness and largeness of her characters are shines through of this little beaver, and it feels like she's the one acting this beaver's motions out, and it's so great.
Yeah, you can tell obviously the dialogue is really smart. There had to have been a bit of her just riffing and saying different things
Oh
that
yeah.
they animated to. But with Key, I also wanted to mention, he's so optimistic. Like this character is so optimistic. Key is so optimistic in general. It's the perfect role for him. Gary actually reminded me a lot of another role that he had of Ouroboros, which is his
Mm.
character in Loki, which is perfect as if for those who don't know, the Ouroboros is literally a snake eating its own tail. So like, he was wearing, I remember at one of the Loki red carpets or green carpets, he was wearing a Ouroboros pin. I'm like, you can just recycle that for this carpet as well. But no, he's always smiling. He's got that big giant grin with one tooth, and it is impossible not to love this character who is a snake who, again, I think, when you think of snakes, when you think of spiders, when you think of all these different creatures within the animal kingdom, we're very quick to sort of be like, I'm afraid of that thing, and that means it's bad. And I love how they sort of flipped that on its head with Gary the Snake. Another character I wanted to shout out, and I want you to maybe just check in on as well, because we were both. I was surprised. You said you were surprised to hear him as well. I guess we didn't do as much research as we thought. I literally watched one trailer for this movie. I kept
Same here.
away quite a bit because I wanted to enjoy it. Andy Samberg as Paubert Linksley, which is also just great because his name is Paubert, which is like Robert. And the names will forever be fantastic. What did you think of Andy Samberg in Zootopia 2?
Oh, well, again, he's no stranger to voice acting. If you've ever watched Hotel Transylvania, he's incredibly expressive with his voice, and we know that from that movie, and it's no different with this one. And the character he brings is again a new flavor for the story, and I think is an enjoyable character. Again, like the new additions normally in these sequels, they can be hit or miss, and I have a hard time looking through this cast of the new additions, being like, well, they didn't need to be there, because they all
Mm-hmm.
bring something to this movie in one way or another that makes it feel like a proper sequel that can stand on its own in the shadow of what Zootopia did. So it's really cool.
Yeah, David Strathairn. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I know him from his role in the Bourne Ultimatum, the Bourne films. He is so excellent. He plays Milton Linksley in this movie, and him and Andy's character Paubert very much have this tie to the history of Zootopia that you wouldn't necessarily anticipate. And I will say, again, I know we've only had one movie and like a mini series, but I didn't feel caught off guard by any of that. It felt really natural that would be the case, and that we just haven't necessarily delved into it. And yeah, Andy as Paubert, he's like Judy. He's trying to prove himself. He's a goofball. And yeah, it was great having him along for the ride throughout the story. Talking about the story, Darcy, what are your thoughts on the story for Zootopia 2?
I mean, the story is, again, overall great buddy cop sequel storyline, testing out the relationship and under new circumstances where the stakes almost seem higher than their last case. It's,
Yeah.
again, a typical storyline where no one believes in them and they have to prove themselves, like you were saying. So it's really cool that Disney is, again, doing this genre twist, but with these, again, putting that Disney vibe on it and bringing such charm and heartfelt humor to these stories. And while I won't say the pacing is perfect, there are times where it goes up and down, and because like most of these buddy cop storylines, there's the divide on the team where they spend more time apart, and sometimes that time feels like it drags on a bit too long. But
Mm.
overall, I feel like the story has a great arc for these characters and is a rewarding end once you get there. And it has the perfect callbacks to that first movie while also calling back to some Disney great moments over the whole course of things. So it rides the line of just upping the stakes just enough to make it feel like it's a new thing. So I really think the story worked for me in this one.
Yeah, I love what you mentioned about the callbacks. I think a lot of times people look at a sequel and they think, okay, is it going to tread too much on what came before? And there are definitely themes that are from the first movie. The first movie is meant to introduce us, obviously, to the world of Zootopia, and then leave you with the notion of working together despite our differences, and specifically a little more so in the first one, not to judge each other through our own prejudices. And this one does do that again, but very similar to the way that it expands the world. It expands on those ideas. It expands on those moral themes, and I think it showcases Nick and Judy working together or together to prove to everyone else that they can be an effective team beyond their differences and beyond their first success in that first movie. And then we have Key's character, Gary DeSnake, who I love that his last name is DeSnake, comes in and he pulls them in different directions and really pushes them. The journey they go on, it pushes them to their own personal limits. But you brought up also some of the callbacks to the first film. There are definitely callbacks. There are callbacks to other, like you said, Disney Pixar animation as well, and even beyond that to like a very specific, we won't spoil it, horror film that for some reason Disney, especially
Disney,
Disney animation.
yeah, they just love this one movie, and I'm all for it,
Yes.
especially in the most unexpected places like this one.
Yeah, when you see it, you'll know. Darcy and I both popped and turned to each other. We're like, "What?" Um, and again, we're laughing now. The movie's also really funny. We were in a theater with 20 something other critics, in the morning, and a morning movie screening. Obviously, sometimes people are groggy, whatever. I heard a ton of laughs besides our own. Like the jokes are quick. They're constant in a way that I didn't find ever really get old or anything like that. And they also weren't afraid to get goofy and really silly at times. We talked about on the way home, Darcy, how it felt like they brought sensibilities from Zootopia Plus and applied them for some unforgettable moments in this movie.
Yeah, for sure. Again, they've almost found the way to give humor that can be approached for all audiences. Like again, you have some of that dumb slapsticky stuff that is just a fart joke almost, if you will, and that young kids will get. But then also some of the witty wordplay or just the background thing that just if you are smart enough to catch it or fast enough to catch it, then you'll just be like, oh, I just got a little reward there. There's a little bite-sized joke amongst many. And again, a lot of the times these jokes are landing and you're laughing as they're running into the next joke. Like it's sometimes they're going so fast that you don't know what you're laughing at, but it's a good time nonetheless. Like it was a lot of fun.
I definitely had that, Darcy. There was a moment where, like, I don't know, there was like a couple little characters attached to Nick in some way, and they said something, and I didn't pick it up, but I saw you. I looked up from my notepad, I saw you laughing, then I started giggling, just out of sheer community laughingness. And I think the story overall, like you said, it expands on the foundation of Zootopia Plus, but at the same time, even though we are bringing back characters here and there and little jokes from the previous movie, they never stay too long on them. They don't overstay their welcome. And the movie really does focus on Gary and Nick and Judy at the core of this adventure. But also it feels bigger. From the beginning, we're getting buddy cop vibes, Miami PD 80s action vibes. And then as the story gets bigger and bigger, the consequences get bigger, and we move into full-on spy mission stuff, complete with a gala. Darcy, I
Yep.
love. Who doesn't love a gala in a spy movie? Are you kidding me? It's so
Yeah,
good.
again, it's always neat to see like again animals in these situations, because I think that's what really does it for me is the fact that we've seen a million or 100 spy movies and they're all the same. The gala things always, they're always decked to the nines and it's people dressed up. That always looks cool. Animals dressed up is
Yes.
incredibly new, and seeing going from a mouse walking down the red carpet to a towering giraffe in like an elegant dress. It's wild to see the contrast, and just again they all live side by side, and just seeing it in these different contexts is so cool.
It's so cool, and it's so cool to see them interacting in different ways, like you're saying, and it is so impressive that this team, from every angle, music, performances, just the detail, the animation, they're able to maintain that level of charm on this scale. Like, as they get bigger, they still maintain the level of charm that you expect from Zootopia.
Mm-hmm.
So good, so good. Darcy, let's get to our final thoughts and a score on a scale, pun intended, of 1 to 5. Let's go with carrot pens.
Okay. Yeah, again, I really enjoyed this one. Again, I'm a big fan of Zootopia. The world from that they created over the course of the movie, the series, and what I assume the ride and show also add to is just it's such a fun, rich world to explore. And every time you go back there and find something new, you want to return and hope you can find something else that's new. And this movie does a great job of, again, raising the stakes enough that it fits the world, it makes sense, and all the characters, while there are a lot, they all fit in the story and have their moments to shine when they need to, while also, like you said, focusing on the three characters at its core. So it, again, while there are some pacing issues in the middle there, I think this movie does a really good job of again, telling a new story in a world that is so much fun to explore. So it's more than just going back to this world. We're actually getting something really cool out of it in the story. So I'll be giving this one 4.5 out of 5 carrot pens.
I love that you went to the 4.5. It's making me want to, Darcy, it's making me want to maybe do the same thing. I think
I know I like this one way more than the first movie for some reason. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it worked for me, man. That buddy cop 80s action vibes with the animal overlay, just it clicked in all the right places.
Yeah. I mean, I want to like it more than the first movie. I want to like every sequel more than the first movie. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. And also I need to rewatch that first movie from forever ago, because I haven't seen it in a little while, just to fully make sure before I would say one or the other. But I think overall, like we were saying, the story is very fast paced, right? There are moments of genuine connection and slowing down that are very rewarding when you get them. But I think for some audiences, it might be a little further spread than some might want. I think about, the fact that obviously this is definitely a kids movie, right? It is an animated movie for families, and that includes kids, but it also includes adults. So I think there's going to be a little bit of mixed reception when it comes to the pacing, like we were saying. But with a perfectly cast ensemble group of voice actors, a great musical score, and hilarious, hysterical, fun action. This is an expansion of the Zootopia that you already love. The movie is so heartwarming and lovely. And I have to say, I was really impressed with the type of story they were telling. Obviously, I can't delve too much into the exact details of the themes because I don't want to give anything away, but they cover some incredibly honestly relevant, sadly relevant themes from today's world, and they shine a mirror on our own history as humans with these delightful animals and this delightful animal world in a way that still presents hope and still presents a lovely message of optimism for us to come together to celebrate how, when it comes to finding that common ground, our differences make no difference. And I love that. I love when movies can give us a fun ride, a fun adventure, but also just sort of point that mirror, towards us and say, hey, we can do better together.
Oh my God.
So
how many times are you going to say together this podcast?
Listen, until I see the show, and then once I see the show, I'm never going to say the word together ever again. So I'm giving Zootopia 2. You know what, Darcy? Let's do it. Let's just go there. I'm giving it a very solid 4.5 out of 5 carrot pens. That is it for our spoiler-free review for Zootopia 2. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to share your thoughts on this movie or any of the movies or series we cover, well, let me just send it back over to my partner to crack the case on how you, our lovely listeners, can reach us in a flash.
The puns were great in the movie. I'm not sure if I'd like them coming from you. I'm going
No.
to say that much. But if you guys want to reach us, you can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Or you can, use simpler things if you don't have hands like Gary. It might be easier to use your phone. You can reach us on Instagram at wearegeekcentric. or on X at geekcentricyt. I missed one there, didn't I?
We're on TikTok at wearegeekcentric as well. It's all good.
Right.
Yeah. I wonder what the Zootopia version of TikTok would be. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know if it would be TikTok, because I feel like all the mammals, they'd want to be, wary of ticks.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. They wouldn't want to call back to maybe Clip Clop, and it's like horse.
Oh, there you go. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's it for sure.
Heck yeah. Hire me, Disney. Keep in mind, we also have a ton of other great episodes covering the latest in movies and TV shows, including our recent recap of the Toronto Game Expo. Darcy and I attended Canada's largest fan-driven marketplace, filled with everything you love under one roof. We had a great time. We saw some really cool stuff. We played some games. We bought some wonderful stuff from some wonderful creative vendors, and we give them a bunch of shout outs. So if you want to learn more about that expo, definitely check that episode out now, as well as all of our spoiler-free reviews from TIFF. We attended TIFF this year, so we've got spoiler-free reviews for Rental Family, Sentimental Value featuring Eric Marchin, Frankenstein, The Smashing Machine, Nirvana the Band, The Show, and then maybe a couple more on the way. Plus, we have some non-TIFF reviews from throughout the summer, like Predator Badlands, Star Wars Visions Volume 3, Peacemaker Season 2, and Tron Ares. Plus, we've got some great interviews to check out, like our most recent interview with Alex Wu, which Alex Wu did a Netflix animated film called In Your Dreams. I've been seeing more and more people talk about this movie. I have to check it out now that we're, through this animated film. I'm in the animated movie vibe. He talks about, in this interview with Justin, he talks about how leaving Pixar to launch his own studio, Cuckoo Studios, shaped the stories, the kind of stories he wanted to tell, and how revisiting his childhood memories became a surprisingly cathartic part of his creative process. It's a great interview. Definitely check it out. You can check out all of our interviews either here on your podcast service of choice or over on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric. We've also launched something new. Darcy, what is it called?
Eatcentric. We are Eatcentric because we eat food.
We eat
I
food.
can do this.
Heck
Throw it
yeah.
at me like that again, and I'll hit another ballpark just like that.
You got it. Yes, we do eat food. We celebrate food culture, the geeky food that brings people together. And in our latest video, we talk about the holiday smile cookie from our friends over at Tim Hortons. We've got more on the way throughout the holidays and into the new year, and we're having a lot of fun. Again, we are Eatcentric on Instagram and TikTok. Catch us there. We're almost through 2025, Darcy, but don't worry. Okay, are you cold? You feeling cold?
No, I'm fine. I like.
You're warm-blooded, like me. Yeah. And you know who else is warm? What else is warm-blooded? Is this podcast? Things are heating up as we wrap up the end of the year. It gets colder. I don't know how we're getting there.
This is a wild segue.
It's a wild segue. We're gonna be having have coverage for upcoming series like Stranger Things season 5, Percy Jackson and the Olympian season 2, Fallout season 2, and movies like Avatar, Fire and Ash. Plus, maybe even a couple more reviews from TIFF 50. So stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe so you can join us for all that geek-centric goodness. Darcy, thank you so much for joining me for this. I was going to say wild, but we've used it too much. This
you have.
You, E-W-E, have?
Oh, my God. I walked into that one.
It's just, you slithered right in. Thank you for joining me for this carrot-filled spoiler-free review. And as we say, love ya.
Laters.